Welcome to the 2023 Antioch University Los Angeles Commencement Ceremony. I'm Mark Hauer, Provost of Antioch University Los Angeles. I'm really thrilled to be at this commencement with all of you and to enjoy a sense of community and also to honor our graduates. This is really special, so thank you for making some time to do this. Now, when we have important events at this Culver City campus, we have a tradition of reading a land acknowledgement to remember our place in a larger story. Antioch University Los Angeles resides on the traditional and unceded territory of the Tongva people. These lands and the Tongva people continue to carry the stories of this nation and the people's struggles for survival and identity. With this land acknowledgement, we take a step toward learning these stories and identifying ways to join in decolonial and indigenous movements for sovereignty and self-determination. Again, thank you for joining us today. It's a beautiful day and a really important one. So I want to start by talking to certain groups about what this means, at least from my perspective. Honored students, congratulations. And we probably can't do too much of that. Just, we're outside. We can yell and clap all we want. There you go. You've worked for this day for many months and even years. Your hard work and sacrifices allowed you to realize your goals. And while we celebrate your individual accomplishments, it's also true that the success of every student rests on the support of others. Families and friends, we know without you, the graduates would likely not have reached this point. Your assistance, support, and love have been critical to their success. The faculty, of course, have been a big part of your learning journey. They've built the curriculum, shared their expertise, encouraged you to do and be your best. Now, many of our faculty are present today, and faculty, please, if you are able, please stand and be recognized by all of us. And if you're all, I also want to take a moment to address the significance of this day for the staff, administrators, and all who work at Antioch. Commencement for us is a powerful reminder of why we do this work. And finally, I want to recognize the essential contribution of Sandy Lee, who is our Chief of Operations, and every year works diligently, does so much to organize these commencements, and they wouldn't be the really spectacular event and experience they are without her effort. She's always joined by an amazing group of a commencement committee, and this year those include Andrea Richards, Francis Hernandez, Jonathan Hall, Julia Rodriguez, and Sunny Foley. So thank you to all of you who helped make this day possible in terms of all of this experience. Now I'm going to shift a little bit of the program because we are here to recognize student achievements. And let's focus right now on the psychology students, since that's what this particular ceremony is about. Now, the psychology program at AULA is one of the oldest, largest, and most successful programs in the Antioch University system. And that means the entire system, not just this campus. Most graduates of the Masters of Arts in Clinical Psychology go on to become therapists and counselors who are licensed to practice in the state of California. Now, the chair of the program right now is Tanika Jackson. I'm really honored to introduce her. And Tanika, would you please come up, Dr. Jackson, and take your place here. I'll stand to the side. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Yes, this is exciting. My name is Tanika Jackson, and I am chair of the Antioch University Los Angeles Psychology Department. It is with my great pleasure, thank you. It is with my great pleasure to introduce your 2023 Psychology Commencement speaker, Nikki Martinez Rice. Nikki graduates with an emphasis in spiritual and depth psychology as she aspires to pursue certification in Jungian analysis. Her future work with eating disorder populations will include reuniting patients with the divine feminine and opening a nonprofit treatment center with her partner. Nikki draws inspiration and drive from her loving family, especially her abuelito. Please welcome the 2023 Psychology Department Commencement speaker, Nikki Martinez Rice.
Welcome and hello, fellow graduates, distinguished faculty, and loved ones. I am honored to be up here speaking with all of you today. Like many of my fellow graduates, I was called to this profession by something deep inside of myself that was awakened by events that transpired in my life, requiring me to go to therapy. Wounded healers, they call us. Forced by our pain, but driven by a passion that grew out of healing that pain. After a 4-year-long journey through an eating disorder, I found myself in the therapy chair. And like many of my fellow graduates, I thought that the point of therapy was to stop my maladaptive behaviors. But what I learned is that our thoughts, behaviors, and feelings are all messengers. Messengers from the deepest parts of ourselves wanting to be known. When we heal our pain, we find the true self. When we sit in that room with our patients, we are embarking on a sacred journey with another human being to the center of their psyche. This is not just about stopping and changing behaviors. This is much, much more than that. They give us our Masters of Arts today because therapy is an art. It is an art to heal deep wounds. It is an art to help someone painstakingly pull every cut-off piece of themselves out of the shadow and into the light. It is an art to consciously reconnect with and integrate those rejected pieces. Guided by the wisdom of the great pioneers of psychology, the esteemed education we received during our time here at Antioch, and the experiences that awakened us all to step into this field, we will help our communities come together in authentic connection. Though we may see only a handful of patients at a time, our reach is immeasurable. Each person that reaches the true self will radiate outward, inspiring others to do the same, maybe even inspiring the next generation of psychotherapists. So perhaps we were all once wounded, but that pain has transformed into authentic self-expression, love, and the healing arts. In the wise words of Carl Jung, there is no coming to consciousness without pain, but the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And so, congratulations, class of 2023, on becoming the therapists we are all truly meant to be. Thank you.
At this time, we will announce the names of the Psychology Department class of 2023 who are participating in today's ceremony. Graduates, please rise and form a line on the left side of the stage. Faculty, please gather on the right side of the stage to receive the graduates. Thank you. Zachary Lamarck Hollis. Maureen Riley. Dana Lee Brockman. Nikki Martinez Rice. Karina Gonzalez. Nikki Marie Bloss. Claire Paluzzi. Nadia Ellison. Marianne Francois Albina. Peter Ehrenfried. Judy Rangel. Kayla Gosnell. Melissa Susanna Cordova. Elizabeth Montoya. Sari Tract. Kirsten Hearn. Amy Carlson. Brian Mihalko. Ricardo Alfredo Padilla Sanchez. Herbert Hernandez. Antonia Barrios. Ruth Parrish. Claire Kraft. Jessica Calderon. Desiree Michelle Manley. Margot Stevenson. Daniel Gradias. Elizabeth Schaefer. Ryan Walker Page. Aphrodite Chimarios. Jay Carter. Megan DeHart Runyon. Crystal Ariza. Shannon Bradshaw. John Arthur Elijah Ingram. Bejon Marie Brown. Shimul Hyder. Esther Robles. Adrian Van Zyl. Sochi Fernandez Pizarro. Thea F. McGaffney Brown. Catherine Logan. Rebecca Wood. Emily Hart Roth. Kara Lowry.
Congratulations.
Jonathan Levi. Matthew Siminu.
Congratulations, Matthew.
Stephanie Carolina Rosales. Sheila Jadali Sadra. Brittany Hopper. Wendy Medina. Sunny Grenade.
Thank you and congratulations.
Lindsay Janice. Gabriela Ilana Shevel. Lauren Sill.
Congratulations.
Tim Dvorak. Jacob Weiland. Ryan Muldoon. Duru Uzo. Anna Veluise. Rachel Rosenbaum. Kelly Schinnerer. Dan Romeo White. Isabella Pilar Chudisco Sadaka. Maite Schwartz Savage. Marissa Esposito. Jenny Davis. Robert Torres. Audrey Moreno Medina. Jessica Jean Santoro. Megan Pfefferkorn. Congratulations to the Psychology Department class of 2023.
And now, the part of today's commencement ceremony that you have all been waiting for, the conferral of degrees. Yay! Will the candidates for the degree of Master of Arts please stand and be recognized? Yay! of the faculty, I present to you for appropriate recognition the candidates for the degree of Master of Arts.
Thank you, Tika. Upon the recommendation of the faculty of Antioch University, Los Angeles, and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Governors of Antioch University, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Master of Arts with all the rights, honors, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Graduates, you may now move your tassel from right to left. Congratulations, graduates. Congratulations to all the family, friends, and everyone who's helped bring this day about. And I just want to note, there is one small part left to the ceremony, so it may seem a little anticlimactic for those who are already thinking, I've moved my tassel. First, I want to note that graduates are you're now welcome members of the Antioch Alumni Association. Antioch Alumni Community welcomes you, and we are richer and stronger because of your presence. Now I want to tell you a little bit of history and pull it back to the current level of our daily lives, perhaps. Antioch College was established in Ohio in 1852 by Horace Mann, a prominent abolitionist and leader of the movement to establish public education. Mann believed a democratic society required broad, active engagement of an educated citizenry, not domination by a privileged few. During his final commencement address in 1859, Mann delivered his famous challenge to students, urging them to be ashamed to die before you have won some victory for humanity. Mann's compelling vision retains its power, in part because a great deal of work remains to create a more equitable, prosperous, just society for all. And in recent times, we've seen the scourge of hate and racism amplified by social media and gun violence. We've seen that climate change cannot be dismissed as weather. And the pandemic laid bare these and other deep structural societal challenges and inequalities from our nation's very beginnings. Now, as the pandemic shifts and society adjusts, there is perhaps an urge to return to normal. Yet, return to normal could be a siren call to ignore valuable lessons and to fall back on old patterns and habits of organizing our lives and our communities in ways that, in truth, never served us all. Perhaps we have an opportunity, perhaps you have an opportunity to contribute to a more conscious and discerning, more thoughtful effort to create the world we know we deserve and that we require to both survive and thrive as human beings. So whatever your path, whether as a teacher or a therapist, a writer, community activist, or something altogether different, I know you'll find your authentic way to address the injustice and inequities and distractions that diminish us individually and divide us as a society. I urge you to continue to hone your critical thinking skills and your systems thinking skills, to deepen your capacity for compassion and connection with each other, to be an active, conscious agent of change in all you do. I know you know how to do this already, but you can always deepen those capacities and those skills. This is a lot to put on your shoulders, perhaps, on a day like today. Let's celebrate that, for sure, that you have accomplished so much. But please know you are not alone in this next phase of work. You're joining a generation of Antiochians who have heeded that call to service for social justice and the common good. So I want to thank all of the graduates, but also all who came to cheer them on and enjoy this day with them. We are so pleased that this ceremony has taken place. Believe it or not, we have another one later on the day for another group of the folks in psychology. But for right now, Congratulations to the class of 2023. Please feel very free to mix around. We've got some food for folks. We're not going to start the next ceremony until about 4, so you've got time to enjoy each other in community and in friendship and colleagueship. It's been an honor working with all of you students, and thank you for bringing your family and friends. Be well.